How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Nick. Today we're giving you guys a rundown of the latest injury updates. Harrison Bader, Carlos Rodon, Lou Trivino, and Luis Severino. So a couple of these guys are making relatively good progress when it comes to their returns, and some of them are not, specifically Rodon and Trevino, who have both suffered pretty significant setbacks, and now we're looking at weeks, if not months away from making a return to this team, which is really unfortunate because Trevino was excellent over a small sample size of 21.2 innings last year with the Yankees. I think he had a 1.88 ERA, and we could have used him right now. That sinker was lethal. He was looking really good for us and was used in some high leverage situations in 2022, and then of course Rodon, our $162 million signing over 6 years, has already suffered 2 injuries before even stepping on the mound for us. So definitely not a good situation, and we're definitely scratching our heads like, Brian Cashman, did you even look into any of these guys when you acquired them, or is this just Russian roulette all over again when it comes to injuries and bringing in guys? I don't really know what to think of it, but at least Bader and Severino are making good progress. We're going to give you guys the updates on those. But, Nick, before we dive into it, how do you do today, my friend?
I'm good. I'm doing quite well. I mean, yesterday we got some updates on some of these guys, and earlier today we got a couple more updates on them as well. So it's nice to see some guys improving and getting better. Of course, I am worried about Trevino, and it's pretty crazy because of the fact that Trevino was like the last guy from the trade deadline acquisitions last year that we had that wasn't really injured. And now he's been injured. So it's looking like he may miss the entire season. We'll talk more about that. And it's just like, damn, how could you tell me that? Montas out for the potentially most of the year. Trevino out for probably most of the year. Efros had Tommy John. Bader's already on the IL. It's like, what are we doing, guys? How is it that every guy we got is injured? Is there no due diligence done? I don't know. It's just, this episode's going to be an interesting one to say the least, because it's like the Yankees right now have been so hard to watch, and we need these reinforcements, but it's probably going to be a little bit until we get some of them. So I don't know. I'm doing well, though, all things considered. It is still early days in the season. 13-10 is not the end of the world. I mean, I believe a couple years back, the Yankees started off 5-12. I think it was 2021. So it's like, well, you got to just, roll with the punches here at the beginning of the season. Some teams will separate themselves from others as the year rolls by. But I don't know. I'm excited to talk with you today, my man.
Absolutely. But guys, this situation right now is certainly one where, as you mentioned, reinforcements are desperately needed. Now, let's talk about Harrison Bader first off, and foremost, we'll talk about the positive injury news, which is something that is hard to come by when you're a Yankee fan these days. So Harrison Bader is in the middle of his rehab assignment with AA Somerset. He should be getting up to AAA Scranton pretty soon. And Aaron Boone said he needs to see back-to-back 9-inning days and a full game's worth of at-bats before they can justify elevating him to the major league roster. So the expectations he will return in June, I guess, May. I can't even tell my months anymore.
Like next Friday is what it's looking like for him, because he's not going to make it on this road set, which sucks, but it is what it is.
Okay, so Harrison Bader coming back next Friday, which is the early portion of May, which is exciting. We need the outfield support badly. I cannot freaking sit and watch Cordero and Hicks and IKF any longer, even Willie Calhoun. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm going to blow a freaking gasket watching them on my couch. It's not only is it just it's awful to watch the bottom half of this batting order, but those 3 players specifically are borderline automatic outs, and IKF has elevated his on-base percentage a little bit over the last couple of days, but the fact of the matter is, we're just throwing out guys. We're just throwing guys out there. Cordero hasn't gotten on base in 6 freaking games. 6 games these guys have gotten on base. He's getting everyday reps. The Franchi week is over, my friends. He's back to his average. He's back to his mean. And right now, the Yankees need support. They're not going to be making any trades right now. We've talked heavily about Elijah Dunham getting opportunities, and I think that they should promote him ASAP. He has upside. Can't be any worse than Hicks at IKF or Franchi. And he's got a lefty bat with a little bit of pop. So let's see what he could do. I'd rather see him get every other day reps at the major league level than sit there and just freaking rot in AAA and he's 24 years old. This is the perfect time to do it. I mean, we just called up a 21-year-old in Volpe and a 22-year-old in Peraza. You have a little bit of an older AAA player right now when it comes to developmental time in Elijah Dunham. Now's the chance to do it. Now's your opportunity. He's a versatile, athletic outfielder, can play both corner spots. Aaron Judge needs days off eventually. He's going cold. Just every single day he's played every game. They need to give him a rest, and they need someone who's not going to freaking suck suck eggs out there. And Dunham's, in my opinion, at least not going to suck eggs. He's got a decent eye. He's only striking out at a 20% clip in AAA. I would love to see him get an opportunity in the majors. But what are your thoughts right now, kind of on Harrison Bader's return? What does this mean for some of these guys? Notably the three that I referenced. Do you think that you have to be kind of careful with Bader because of the injury history? How do you think they kind of split up these reps?
I mean, it's hard right now because, like you said, the Yankees outfield is atrociously bad. Like, if you look at WRC plus for the Yankees outfield right now, you have Judge 131. And then you drop down a little ways to Cordero with 79, Oswaldo with 38, IKF with 23, Willie with 12, and Hicks with a negative 10. So when you have a lineup, basically, that's featuring usually three of those guys every day, it's not going to be a pretty lineup. And the Yankees desperately need Bader back for that reason alone. Like, look, I don't believe Cabrera is a 38 WRC plus player, but Oswaldo Cabrera has not been playing well right now. And even on the defensive side, he hasn't been that great in left field, which honestly, you can't hold it against him. He's played 23 career games in left field, and they've all happened like this season and a little bit last year. So you can't be too mad with the kid not being amazing defensively out there, because at the end of the day, he was a second base shortstop, turned right field, turned left field. So it's like we're just trying to make matters work and make ends meet right now. But when Bader comes back, it's hard because, like you said, you gotta make sure he stays healthy and mitigate some of that injury risk, because I love Bader, but he is a bit of an injury concern. He has been for his entire career. But you also want to run the best lineup possible and actually win games and put competitive players in the lineup, specifically at the bottom of the order. The Yankees 6, 7, 8, 9 have been absolutely putrid like 90% of the season this year. And now that, like you said, Cordero is just fallen off of a cliff, I don't know exactly how they improve it. Like, I love Elijah Dunham. He's my guy. But the only thing I worry about with Elijah Dunham is that he's not really slugging for much right now. So his triple slash is 257, 342. Those first two are beautiful. And then you look at 386 and you're like, oh, well, he's not really hitting for much power, hitting a lot of doubles. And his WRC plus is only 90. So I do worry that if we promote him, he may just kind of struggle a little bit. And that 90 may be a 60 at the major league level. But at the same time, we'll never know if we don't give the kid a shot. So at some point, you're going to have to realize, hey, Hicks sucks. He shouldn't be playing. Cordero was a 1 week wonder. He should be cut, especially when Bader comes back. Calhoun's going to get sent down anyways because he can't play defense. And then that leaves IKF. And the only reason IKF is on the team right now is because the Yankees were obsessed with him. So they gave him a $6 or $7 million deal right out of the bat when free agency started. And now you're looking at it like, well, damn. We're paying $6 million to IKF to have a negative 0.1, 0.2 F4. Like, how is that at all a good decision by this team? We need Bader back. I can't wait to get Bader back. I'm not expecting him to be like that postseason version of himself last year. I mean, that was like unsustainable elite success by Harrison Bader. He was like Barry Bonds for the postseason. But I am expecting him to be like 100, 110 WRC plus bat with some elite defense. So that alone is just going to spark this team. He has he's like a ball of energy. He's just, I don't know. Having Bader back will do a lot of good for this team, a lot more good than some people are giving credit for. So it cannot come soon enough. But Hicks needs to go. Cordero needs to go. IKF needs to go. Calhoun, honestly, needs to go. Like, some of these guys we talked about earlier, Rafael Ortega is on the Rangers right now in their AAA team. He's not been great, but I'm kind of looking back now. It's like, why didn't he make the roster? Like, he wasn't bad in spring either. We could have had him on the team, and he at least is like a lefty Hicks where he works walks and everything, and he gets on base. He plays a decent outfield, can play center field. I don't know. There's just all sorts of questions right now with this Yankees team, especially with how they've been playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's facts. You kind of referenced I'll make a counterpoint to your Dunham kind of opinion regarding, the WRC plus is 90. He's not really slugging hard that much right now. I'll say this. You want to go, I bet you can't guess what Aaron Hicks' WRC plus is right now.
Negative 10.
Negative 10. Negative 10. He is so bad. He is 100 is average, right? 100's average. So anything below 100 is below average. Being negative 10 is like below the worst. He's below. I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. He's 110% worse.
Probably a bad thing.
It's almost like hard to do. It's like generally hard to be negative WRC plus. So Aaron Hicks, A 60 WRC plus sounds like a pretty damn good player in context when you're talking about Hicks. Cordero, I think, is at 78. So, look, none of them are really hitting for power. IKF will never hit for power. Hicks is not going to hit for power. Cordero occasionally hits a homer, but he strikes out more than anything right now. So, look, if I'll tell you this right now. If Dunham can get called up, show decent plate discipline, walk at a 10% clip, and hit a couple extra base hits and just make good, better contact. He swings hard, right? Like, he swings hard, so he's going to put the ball in play, and it's not going to be little dribblers to the freaking pitcher like IKF does. It's not going to be dribblers to the infielders. It's going to be hard hit through the gap baseballs. Dunham's going to make more of an impact. So, those numbers don't scare me. He's not slugging a ton. Those numbers don't generally scare me because you look at the other options, and they're so bad. They're so bad. You can't even, compare. You might as well go with the guy that hit 17 home runs last year in AA and has shown strokes of power, has shown athleticism in the outfield. He's a very good defensive player. So, we saw that during spring training. I think they sent him back to AAA pretty fast, but you know what? I'm willing to give him a chance because I just can't bear to watch these guys. But Harrison Bader is going to make a big impact when he comes back. I think they're going to have to mitigate him to a degree to make sure he does stay healthy. But let's take a look at the pitching right now. Let's take a look at Luis Severino. Severino just faced off against Harrison Bader over the weekend in a live batting session. So he's getting there. He's, going through simulated bullpen sessions and facing off against live hitters. He's going to start that rehab assignment very soon. And that's a really good sign for Luis Severino because we desperately need him. I cannot bear to watch Clark Schmidt start another game. I just can't do it. I can't freaking do it. Every game, the guy stinks. He looks a lot better in the last one and gives up 2 back-to-back home runs to finish it off. And this is the thing with Clark Schmidt. Either he usually starts off okay, and then he just falls apart after the 3rd inning. This time around, it was the 6th inning, and he gives up 2 back-to-back homers, and then he ruins his day with 3 runs. So, you look at Clark Schmidt, he is a tremendous bullpen piece. He is going to be a great bullpen piece that can pick up a lot of innings if you need him. Like yesterday, Johnny Brito gets knocked out early. Throw in Clark Schmidt to take you 4 or 5 innings, and you can get through some games that way, and you don't have to burn through your entire bullpen to finish it off. So he can be valuable out of the pen, and I think that's where ultimately he will land. But Severino, what are your thoughts about him, his return, and kind of the progress he's making right now?
I mean, when Sevy comes back, it'll be a massive benefit for this team. Look, the Yankees are already one of the better pitching staffs in all of baseball. Specifically, if you look at our bullpen, I believe we rank top 5, top 4 for every major category for bullpen. And then for the rotation, thanks to Garrett Cole and Nasty Nestor doing the damn thing, we still are top 10, top 12 in terms of pitching staff. And that's solely because of those 2 guys. Herman has had some meh games. Clark Schmidt's had some meh games, and then Johnny Brito can't even pitch anymore because of the fact that his stuff doesn't play up. So we need Severino back. And honestly, the move I would make is I'd send Brito back down to AAA when we activate Sevy. We saw last game, 2 2/3 innings pitched yesterday. Only gave up 3 runs, which isn't the end of the world, don't get me wrong. But he gave up 3 hits and 3 walks, and he only struck out 1 guy. Why? Because he doesn't have a nasty breaking ball, and he doesn't have a true out pitch right now. And the guy he struck out was Correa, who sucks this year. He's been terrible offensively, other than that one game against us at Yankee Stadium, of course. But I want Severino back because this team would benefit greatly from having him back. You can already look at the bullpen right now and get a little bit worried about some of the usage rates for pitchers. Yesterday, the Yankees managed to get through it without having to use any of their really big guns other than Wandy, who came in and pitched an inning, but he threw 12 pitches, the classic Wandy special. And the Yankees need that because if we're going to go into, say, May, June, even July here as the months start to roll by, and we're looking at guys like Ian Hamilton, Ron Marinaccio, Jimmy Cordero, Michael King, Wandy Peralta, all with tons of innings on their arm already, I'm going to be a little bit worried for that backstretch of the season. I mean, we saw last year what happened to numerous guys because of the overworking in the bullpen. So we need Severino back. We need a guy that can actually pitch 6 or 7 innings any given start when he's on. The Brito, look, I love Johnny Brito. The kid is going to be a good pitcher. He just wasn't expecting to be at this level already, 1. And 2, he's not really a strikeout pitcher anyways in AAA. So if you get to the major leagues and that stuff just drops off a little bit more, then you're looking at a guy that has to get nothing but soft contact or fly balls, and it's just not been working out for him very well. So I think when Severino comes back, he takes Brito's spot, and then I think eventually here, once Rodon comes back, Schmidt gets moved to the bullpen, and somehow, some way, by the grace of God, Domingo Germán remains in the rotation. But that's the problem that the Yankees have right now. It's just not enough bodies to take over when guys are struggling. Like Burrito's been bad, but who are we going to replace him with? Like Randy Vasquez, I guess maybe Clayton Beater, Matt Crook. Like these guys are also guys that haven't really had any MLB time. So it's like we're not like replacing meh with good or like, oh yeah, we can take a flyer on this guy. It's we're replacing a flyer with a flyer, another risk. So I don't know. I need Severino back. Hopefully he's back here in a couple weeks. I imagine he starts his rehab assignments next week, if I had to guess, because he's been doing a lot of those simulated batting practices, live bullpens, and stuff like that over the past few days. So hopefully we get some good news and updates on him going forward. But Rodon is the one I'm a little bit more worried about because we haven't really gotten much positive news on him, and that'll be a good little segue over to you to inform the people on how Carlos Rodon's been looking.
Yeah, well, Carlos Rodon has completed his rehab for the left forearm strain, but go figure, a back stiffness injury pops up and has set him back. So the forearm is healthy. That has healed, and he is ready to go when it comes to that, but the back injury has set him back even further in his throwing program. So now they're targeting a mid-June return, and mid-June return means we don't have one of our best starters for another month and a half. So this is a problem because the Yankees right now are 13-10. You know, they're somehow above 500. Their offense, they've scored like 6-7 runs in the last 4 or 5 games. Like
They've
they're
got less hits on
struggling.
the season than the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, which is embarrassing. So we need our pitching to step up big, and when you
Yep.
have your best arms not around, you have to supplement that with offense, and our offense is not around. So,
Yep.
it's kind of a double-edged sword at this point in time. But Rodon, he is making his way back very slowly. He keeps getting setbacks, and 6-year contract right now is looking like another Cashman freaking dud. And I hope to God that Rodon does make a return, does end up becoming a very prominent and successful pitcher with this Yankee team, and I think he will. But for now, it is fair to be critical. It is fair to be,
Yeah.
cautious and objective. So I do feel as though Cashman does deserve a little bit of criticism because it seems like not many GMs were keen on giving him such a long-term deal for this reason exactly. And, now we sit here asking ourselves, did we just fall into another massive contract that is not going to pan out? So again, I'm holding out optimism. I'm holding out hope. Hopefully he comes back. And look, if the Yankees brought in Rodon to be a September and October playoff pitcher and that's going to elevate this 3-man rotation when it comes down to it, it'll be worth it. But for now, the jury's still out because maybe he's going to get injured later on. Knock on wood. It's impossible to tell with this guy. It's like playing Russian roulette every day. You just don't know which version you're going to get. So, when you're looking at Rodon, how confident are you he's going to bounce back? Or are you feeling like maybe we might have made a mistake here?
Like I mean, it's the hardest thing to gauge because, like you said, when the Yankees got Rodon, we were all very excited. He was the best pitcher on the market. He was an ace last year. Could have probably won the NL Cy Young had he thrown 20 or 30 more innings. And everyone that was a Yankees fan was like, "Oh, this is a great move. I'm very happy we got Carlos Rodon. He is a great pitcher when he's healthy and on." That's the big problem, though, that kicker when he's healthy and on. Rodon hasn't really thrown a fully healthy season in his entire career. I'm pretty sure the guy hasn't even crossed 200 innings before in his entire career. But every Yankee fan knew the risk when we brought him in. So hopefully he can prove that risk to be worth the reward in the sense where it's like, look, I'm going to miss the first 2 months of the season, first 3 months of the season. But you're going to get me back for the big chunk of the year, the most important months, and the postseason. And that's what you paid me the big bucks for. So if Rodon can come back and pitch healthily, then I'll be totally fine with his contract, even though he did miss a little bit of time at the beginning of the year. It's hard to feel 100% confident in a guy when he's had so many injury problems in the past. I'd say my confidence out of a 1 to 10 is probably a 7, 6.5 right now for him. Not because of his abilities, just because of his availability. Like when he pitches, he's going to be great. I'm not worried about that. But it's when he pitches. So it's same thing with Severino, honestly, except like that's the problem. The Yankees have 2 guys in this rotation, and then Montas, who's just maybe hopefully coming back in August or September, that aren't even really all that reliable. And that's the problem we have right now.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you look over at Lou Trevino, and ultimately, this is another pitcher who we kind of needed, and he has just underwent some more pain in his UCL. He was making really good progress, was pitching live sessions, and then some pain sneaked up on him, and apparently he's being shut down for a long time now. And, Aaron Boone said yesterday, we just don't know what that means. We don't know what this looks like. We don't know when he's going to come back. It does. When you have an aggravation and a UCL injury, it normally fears the worst, and that is Tommy John surgery. We're going to hold out our hopes, hold out our hands, but end of the day, we'll see what the MRI says. I am anticipating bad news on that front, which is another big blow to the bullpen. And, of course, we are kind of thin there with Jonathan Loáisiga out right now. You kind of see Greg Weiser just doesn't look comfortable. Yesterday, he just, immediately just got kind of shelled, got out of the inning with only giving up a run. But he is also a little bit on edge. He could not fight in the strike zone at times. He does not look comfortable up there. So right now the Yankees are fending off some big-time weaknesses and big-time injuries. But hopefully Bader and Severino's return can provide a lot of support moving forward. But guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below in the YouTube comments. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. Definitely some big things unfolding here, but we'll keep you guys updated on the daily. As always, make sure to leave a 5-star review if you are so kind on the Apple and Spotify podcast audio versions. Really, really appreciate that. Hopefully we can get a dub tonight with Willie Calhoun in the lineup, our absolute guinea pig catalyst. Unlikely, but we hope for the best. Very unlikely, but we hope for the best, and apparently Aaron Boone is very confident in him. But as I mentioned, make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.